Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Stormy Daniels has just gotten disastrous news about the Alvin Bragg, Donald Trump, Stormy Daniels hush money trial. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. Actually, she's gotten two sets of disastrous news here. The first is that her former attorney, Michael Avenatti, the guy that, has really been anti-Trump from the start, he said he's willing to testify, and he's willing to testify in favor of former President Trump. Now, maybe he's angling for a pardon if Trump gets elected, but he's got dirt on her. He must. He was her attorney. So it'd be very, very, it would be must-see TV if he testifies. That's the first bit. But the second bit is, things are damaging for you when even MSNBC says they're damaging for you and you're against Trump. These MSNBC legal analysts predict that Stormy Daniels is going to be pummeled by Trump's attorneys. Pummeled, that was their word, and I agree with it, because Stormy has a shady history. She's not exactly the greatest witness. Michael Cohen is not exactly the greatest witness. It's not a treasure trove of great people here to prosecute this Class E nonviolent felony that Alvin Bragg's prosecuting while he lets real criminals walk the streets of New York City. And I think that's going to be an issue for them. Now, I want you to take a look at this video and let me know what you think about it. As always, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Carmine Sabia for Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
My guest, Jacob Weisberg, was one of the first journalists to talk to her. He is CEO of Pushkin Industries, previously served as chairman and editor-in-chief of Slate. Charles Coleman is back with us as well. Jacob, you met Stormy Daniels and spent time with her. I wonder, is she the kind of person that would just say no to a process server and leave that at her feet?
Well, thanks, Chris. She definitely calls her own, too, and I found her sort of coincidentally got a tip from a friend who was friends with some friends of hers in the summer of 2016. And I reached out to her, and we were texting back and forth and talking. And at that point, she was trying to figure out the value of her story. And she'd been talking to Michael Cohen about being paid hush money, would be a polite term for it. But she thought that there was a good chance Trump was going to stiff her, as he had a lot of other contractors over the years. And she thought maybe she could sell her story to the press as an alternative way of realizing the value from it. And of course, at Slate, we didn't pay for stories. So I was trying to convince her to go public with her story, to let me use it without getting paid. She didn't agree to that. She wanted to get paid for it. She did get paid for it. But in the process, I was able to verify some, but not all of it. I spoke to people she had told about the affair, if you want to call it that, with Donald Trump when it happened. I determined her story had been consistent over that period of almost 10 years. And it checked out, but frustratingly, I didn't have it in a form I could use it, because once she made the deal with Michael Cohen and with Donald Trump, she was prepared to deny that it had happened. So I couldn't say, here's her story, and she denies it. That was the dilemma I had right before the election.
So many people are curious about her, and they're also curious about how she'll present as a witness. She has done a college tour. She's answered a lot of questions on this college tour, and we see it in a recent documentary. It's called Stormy. I should say it aired on Peacock, which is owned by NBC Universal, and NBC's news division didn't have any role in creating the documentary. But I want to play just a little clip. Again, she is at Oxford, actually, where she was speaking. Here it is.
I really wanted to use my platform to prove that I could not be bullied, that women could not be quieted or hushed.
Stormy, with the recent indictment, is it dangerous to keep speaking out in public?
There's that saying, hiding in plain view. If I hide and cower away, it just sort of feeds the bully, so it's just going to make it worse.
Based on what you know of her, the time that you spent with her, how do you think she'll present as a witness? Because I think for a lot of people who watched the documentary, they saw her as someone determined to tell her story.
I think I would describe her as mercenary but truthful. And if you wanted to put a different coloration on what she was doing, it was blackmail. She was trying to get Donald Trump to pay for her silence, and he did pay for her silence, and he broke the law seemingly in doing that. At the same time, what she was doing wasn't very pretty either. But I would say that except when she denied the story because she was being paid to deny it, she's told a consistent story, different details sometimes, but told it in a consistent way. And I think the third-party verification is very important. It shows that what she said to people when she never thought this was going to become public was consistent with what she's saying now.
So listening, as we are, Charles, to Jacob's description, but also knowing what we know about the story of Stormy Daniels, and it's been out there for a very long time. What are you watching for from her as a witness? How do you think she'll present?
Well, of course, I do think that when she gets on the stand, she's going to be very resilient and resolute in her position. I think that prosecutors are likely going to talk to her about the inconsistencies that Jacob referenced, and that she's going to be prepped and prepared to deal with them. But I do think on cross, we are going to see a different animal emerge. And what I mean by that is I expect that Donald Trump's attorneys are going to drill into the fact that Jacob alluded to, the notion that, look, at its core, this is about blackmail. You slept with a married man who you likely knew was married, and then you wanted to get money for the fact that you didn't want to go out and tell the fact that you had made this decision. And ultimately, does that change what Donald Trump did? No. Is that what the case is about? No. But it is going to be something that I fully expect that the defense attorneys in this case are going to try to pummel her on as much as they can to detract from her overall credibility in front of the jury. And I do think that there may be some sympathy among jurors around that to basically say, look, she does not come to the table with clean hands either, and who knows what sort of impact that will have in terms of their deliberations.
To what extent, Charles, can you really prepare a witness for, in using your words, a pummeling?
You can. I think that you have a consistent narrative and you stick to it. I think that you sort of, because here's the thing, an attorney is only going to get one time to actually ask the question before the opposing counsel objects along the lines of asked and answered. And so I think that as long as you have an answer and as long as you have, your spin that you're putting on it, that's ultimately plausible and that you can maintain throughout whatever actions you've already taken, yes, you can prepare them for the pummeling. I think, honestly, it's not necessarily the narrative that you're selling. It's more so the preparation around your demeanor, your attitude, your tone, your intonation, your responses in such a way that you don't come across as overly defensive, rude, or just nasty in front of the jury. That's really what you spend the most time preparing your witness around. The story itself is what it's going to be based off of the facts that you have.
Jacob Weisberg, the original story was fascinating. Talking to you was fascinating. Thank you for coming in. Charles Coleman, thank you as well.